Muy buenas tardes, aquí estamos el viernes. Espero que ustedes estén bien y que estén quedando en casa. So, hopefully, hola Saul. Hopefully you guys are staying at home and taking care of yourselves. And today we're here to talk about Chapter 5A, Vocabulary. So hopefully you guys have had no issues heading to the district website to download the packet for Chapter 5A. And so for today, you guys needed to complete pages 5 and 6. So I'm going to go over page 5. Page 6 is a little more tailored to each person doing their own thing. If you're a student of mine, I would appreciate it if you would take a picture of that and send it to me via email so that I can take a look at how that's going. So let's just start off here. Here we are with the work that you had to complete for today. So this was Página 5, and basically we're just practicing with vocabulary. Para mis estudiantes, aquí está nuestro amigo y ustedes lo conocen, ¿no? Es tan famoso. I'll tell you why I picked him in a second, okay? So, for these verbs here, or these nouns, really, kind of a combination of both, hola, señora, y señorita, we have the answer keys. So, this is all just practice with the vocabulary, kind of getting you used to practicing the vocabulary. Hopefully, you did what your teachers asked you to do, and you went and you copied over the vocabulary from the answer key provided. We know as teachers, porque somos tan inteligentes, claro, that you learn best by writing. So, as much as we provided an answer key for you, and some of you probably are working off of that, if you really want to get the best from your education while you are home, the more you write, the better you will learn. So that's why, of course, we have asked you guys to please copy over the vocabulary. And if you have not done that yet, I know it's the weekend, you really don't have any big assignment. I would hope, hi Derek, I would hope that you guys would copy this over, your vocab list over, whether it's the format of whatever your packet is that you downloaded. Take a moment and copy that over so you can practice with your vocabulary. So for this page, Página 5, is there anybody who has any questions here that I can answer for you? If you don't, just give me a thumbs up. And I'm going to move on to some practice. And while we're waiting for people to give a thumbs up or whatever, oh, gracias, Esperanza. Hola, Oscar. If you guys would do me a favor, whoever's out there practicing with me and is hoping to, gracias, Catalina, Alejandra, nice to see you guys. Those of you guys who are out there to get the best practice with this, if you would do me a favor and just get a piece of paper, turn over a paper that you have that's blank so that you can write some stuff down and practice, that would be great. Okay. Hola, Lola. Hola, Patricia. Alright, so, para mis estudiantes, siempre uso un amigo en mi clase. So, I always use a friend in my class, and today, I especially picked Yoshi. Now, we're going to be talking about vocabulary of 5A, but we're really practicing also with preterite versus imperfect. So before we start, and while some of you guys are getting paper, and something to write with. Why would I have picked Yoshi if we're talking about preterite and imperfect? Does anybody know why Yoshi would be our special guest? Because I did specifically choose this amigo, who incidentally happens to be dual purpose, also an amiibo. Oh, Senora Funkyo knows. I bet you do. Yes, Yoshi. Exactly, Oscar. So when I picked my amigo today for this broadcast, I picked Yoshi because we know that when we're conjugating verbs in the preterite, we have to have accents on the yo form or the she form if they're regular verbs. Yes, esperanza, right? Okay, so we're talking about accents in the yo form and the she form, right? Yo, usted, él, and ella, when we're conjugating verbs in the preterite. So, anyways, there's my amigo. And bienvenidos, Yoshi. Siempre uso un amigo cuando estoy enseñando. But now we're going to move on to this practice. So hopefully that gave you enough time to get your paper. And thanks for joining us, Yoshi. All right. So if I take a look at this practice right now, the first thing I'm going to talk about is actually new to you guys. And I just want to make sure that we talk about this briefly. I'm sure we're going to touch on this in the next week, but I want to talk about when we're stating a profession. So in Spanish, when I'm stating a profession, like I am a teacher, when I make that sentence in Spanish, I'm going to drop my article. What does that mean? That means I'm going to drop the word a. So when I put this in Spanish to have it be grammatically correct, it's going to say, Yo soy profesora maestra. The easiest explanation that I can give to you guys for this, like the most basic, would be this. If I'm having a conversation, I'm hanging out with friends of mine on Zoom, because I'm not getting together with them, right? We're hanging out on Zoom. They ask me what I do for a living, and I say I'm a teacher. Yo soy profesora maestra. When I drop that article, it lets them know it's my profession. It's not a hobby. Okay? So that's the easiest way to remember that. However, if I have a word that describes my profession, or like who I am, right? I'm a teacher. What kind of teacher? I'm a kind teacher. So when I include an adjective here, when I describe what kind of teacher I am, then I'm going to keep this. Okay? Yo soy una profesora, una maestra amable. Amable, that's a great checkpoint B word, right? Simpático is great, but amable is better because it's checkpoint B. Okay? And in this case, because it's profesora maestra, we would actually use simpática with an A. All right? So you have your paper out, ready to go. This is just more, I just want to make sure that we've talked about this a little bit. Okay? More details to follow, I'm sure, in the next couple of weeks or whatever. So here we go. You have your paper out. We're talking about preterite. We're talking about imperfect. We're talking about new vocabulary. So, I have this word that makes me remember how to use the preterite. And then I have this other word that helps me remember when to use the imperfect. So think about those words right now, right? Because these are really ways we can clarify. When do I use the preterite? When do I use the imperfect? We have these words to help us out. Okay? Get those thoughts in your head. And those words are going to be Simba, right? Specific time, single action, interrupting action, main event, beginnings and endings, arrivals, departures. That's going to be preterite. And then I also have waters. So that's going to be imperfect. Waters is going to be imperfect. Weather, age, time, emotion, repetition, and setting or description. Okay? So here we go. You have your paper out. We're trying to translate to Spanish. She assisted the counselor. Hopefully you also have your Chapter 5A vocab out. Okay? I know there's a lag time here on Instagram. So I'm going to give you a minute or two to fill that out. Think about it on your paper, and then I'm going to show you the answer. So she assisted the counselor. All right, so you're going to see when I have the answer, and I'm hoping that we can have a talking point here. I wrote, ella atendió al consejero, okay? So when the action of a verb is directed at a person or group of people, you must use a personal. So when I have she assisted a el consejero, we know we want to combine a and el. But I think there's another way we could interpret this. Okay, and this is me just seeing, are we paying attention? I could say, ella asistía al consejero. And if I did that, why would I say that? So I have ella atendió al consejero. I could say asistía al consejero. My question is, what would be the difference? So this is in the preterite. Why would I also be able in this sentence to be able to use the imperfect, right? Because we've already did preterite versus imperfect. Just want to check in with you guys and make sure we're all on the same page. Why could we use the imperfect here too? Asistía al consejero. When would that work? What do you guys think? If I were going to use the imperfect instead of the preterite, why could I use the imperfect? Is there anybody who can explain why? What do you think? All right, well, as I'm waiting, what I'm going to say is this. I could say asistía al consejero if she assisted the counselor always, every day, often, once in a while. We could, all of those, we could also use the imperfect. It really depends on your interpretation of the question. All right, let's move on to the next one. I carried out my responsibilities every day. Okay, so we have our vocab list out. I carried out my responsibilities every day. Here I have a clarifying every day. So when I clarify there and I have every day tells me repetition. So if this tells me repetition, then I'm going to go with, if it's going to be every day, I'm going to go with imperfect. Yo cumplía con mis responsabilidades cada día, or you could say todos los días. Okay, that's going to be repetition. All right, next one. I found out that I earned a job as lifeguard. Okay? I dropped the word a in there because of what we talked about at the beginning. So I found out that I earned a job as lifeguard. So found out, this is what we have been talking about earlier in the week. We have different verbs that, we have verbs that mean different things in the preterite and the imperfect. Okay? So I do want to go there for a minute. I found out that I earned a job as a lifeguard. And before I show you the answer, I want to go back to this page right here. So we have these verbs that change meaning in the preterite, okay? If it means what you think it means, right? If I look at these verbs, saber, conocer, poder, querer, tener, no querer, we know what those mean. I know you guys know what those mean. So if it's what I want it to mean, I'm going to use the imperfect, okay? In the preterite, they do change meaning, and I really just want to say to you, if you think about it, these probably could make sense. Because when I know something for the first time, when I know a fact for the first time, I find it out. When I meet somebody for the first time, when I know somebody for the first time, I meet them, okay? And if you look at each of those verbs and you think about it, it makes sense if you think about the concept of for the first time. So when you have something for the first time, you receive it. And if you think about beginnings and endings, that's the preterite. So if I found out that I earned a job as a lifeguard, right? Yo supe que gané, right? Ganar, to win or to earn, un trabajo como salvavidas. Now you see I have S. I learned this growing up as salvavidas. The textbook teaches it as salvavida. I prefer it with an S, but your vocabulist I think has it without. So either one is fine. Either one works. All right, next one. You familiar filled out a job application yesterday. So in this sentence here, I have a specific time reference. You filled out a job application yesterday. All right. So I'm using my vocab list to figure out what those vocab words would be. I see yesterday. I see specific time reference. So I know it's going to be preterite. Llenaste una solicitud de empleo ayer. Right? We learned the verb llenar last year at level 2. All right, next one. The messenger had a full-time job. So this is another good example of those verbs that I just showed you on that blue vocab, right? This sheet right here. These verbs that change meaning in the preterite and the imperfect. When I look at that, I say, okay, it means had. It means what I want it to mean. If it means what I want it to mean, then it has to be conjugated in the imperfect. El mensajero tenía un trabajo a tiempo completo. Okay? Next one. This was tough. This one's tough. So if you guys are with me, I want you to take a minute. The delivery person was delivering. That was ing. Tells me something right away. The package when the owner called. This is that concept. I have something happening in the background, right? Something was occurring, bloop, 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 when something happened. So this information here that's telling me what was happening, that's going to be imperfect. But my interrupting action, that's going to be the preterite. Okay? So if I take a look at that, take a minute, figure out what your answer would be. And we have el repartidor repartía el paquete cuando el dueño llamó. So you see, imperfect, right, was delivering when the owner called. Okay, so that's going to be preterite. All right, next one. They applied for a position at the company last week. So when I see this last week, I see I have a specific time frame. That's my S in a certain word. All right, let's check it out. solicitaron un puesto, that's the position, right? A la compañía, I would be convinced too that it could be en la compañía la semana pasada, okay? My manager was fair and dedicated. So I'm thinking about that. How was he? He was fair and dedicated. Or how was she, for that matter? She was fair and dedicated. All right, so in this instance, fair and dedicated, that's going to fall under the concept of setting or description. So setting or description is going to be imperfect. Mi gerente era justo y dedicado. Okay? All right, now we're getting a little more advanced. We're moving on, like in between units here. It was sunny when you familiar went to your interview. It was sunny when you familiar went to your interview. So I have two different situations that are happening in this sentence. I have the verb was, right? Because we know that with preterite and imperfect, the whole point of preterite and perfect is what's the point of the verb. So in the first part, the point of the verb was to say was. And the second part, it was sunny, right? Or was sunny. And then the second part went, right? Went to your interview. So at the beginning of that sentence, I would have estaba soleado or hacía sol, because I'm talking about the weather. Weather is going to be imperfect. Cuando fuiste a tu entrevista, because fuiste is going to be a completed action, reminding you that preterite is a completed action, and we know it's a completed action, right? Our good clarifying question there is, can you put it on a calendar? Okay? All right. Last one here. I was 16 when I looked for a part-time job in the classified ads. For those of you guys that don't know what the classified ads are, so the classified ads are in the newspaper, and they tell you, like, available jobs, things for sale, if you're looking for somebody to hire to, like, cut down a tree or to do handiwork, those are in the classifieds. So I was 16 when I looked for a part-time job in the classified ads. At that beginning of the sentence, I was 16. That's going to indicate age. And I do want to comment, I've noticed a lot of people who are using the wrong verb with age. So when we talk about age, what we really say in Spanish is, I had 16 years. Okay? And I know had, it means what I want it to mean, so it's going to be tener, and it's going to be the imperfect. When I looked for a job in the classified ads, this is a tough one. Tenía 16, you could say 16 años cuando busqué. That's going to be one of your cargars arguar verbs. Un tiempo parcial en los anuncios clasificados. Okay? So that brings us to the end of our practice. And then what I would say to you is this. Do you guys have questions about any of the stuff I just showed or anything you've done so far in your practices? If you don't, just give me a thumbs up. But if you do, would you ask me a question, please? Okay. Thank you, Julia, gracias. Stanek, not sure your first name, but welcome. Glad to see you here. Good job, Alejandra, gracias. Ilea, yep, okay. All right, so keep an eye out for emails from your teachers regarding further information, and I'm sure you guys have seen now that, by now if you haven't, that New York State says that we're going to be returning at the earliest April 15th. So those of you guys that are here, I really appreciate you being here. I know your teachers appreciate you being here. It's really important for you to take stock in your education while you guys are home. And I hope you are getting out. Today is a beautiful sunny day. I hope you are able to get out and enjoy. Great checkpoint B word, disfrutar de or gozar de. The sun, as the weather forecast is indicating, a lot of rain in the future. So thanks for joining me. Nice seeing some of you guys I don't know. And be well. Oh, gracias, señora. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. And hola, Victor. And just take care of yourselves. Okay. Adios.